Hi, welcome back. So, we're gonna go through Chapter 1 of Lynn's story, Footsteps of Fate. So this is how the chapters will start. We'll explain the story, and then advance the character on the map. So she's now in Bulgar. Not the food. The food, Bulgar, I think it's a green, is spelled ER at the end, not AR. What's this? There's an error there. Where are you from, Sir Knight, that you speak so freely to a stranger? That's what it should be. She burns him pretty bad. So in the beginning, usually in the beginning of the game, of pretty much every Fire Emblem game, there are two knights. They used to be called social knights. They are quite social, as you can see, but they're now called cavaliers in the localized versions in North America. And there almost always there is a green knight and there is a red knight. So usually denoted by their armor. So these two, in this game, the two are Kent and Sane. So Sane's the guy on the left with the green armor, who's definitely got his mind on the beautiful woman he just came across. And Kent is the more serious, straight-laced one on the right side. So of course he misinterprets. Come, Sane. We must follow the plot. That's a nice face. So Lynn's full name is Lindis, but she typically just goes by Lynn. Ooh, a whole 3 other brigands. I'm so scared. It looks like the odds are definitely against her, but as you can see, hope rides in. Oh, it's good to see they're so eager. Yeah, imagine, I can just imagine, like, them racing out to help this poor lady, only to find out, only for them to ask for her help, and she's like, no, it's okay, I'm fine, I can kill them all myself. Alright, so we've gained 2 allies. We've gained Kent and Sane. Sane is a true class act in this game. I hope he turns out to be really good, because I'd love to use him. So pretty much every chapter, if the main character of the story dies, the story's over. Like, game over. But if other units, or there's sometimes particular units that cannot die for specific chapters, but for the most part, the game will continue if any characters but the important ones like Lynn die. Alright, so we'll start with Sane. There he is. So here's Sane. I can press R, great. So a bit of a scoundrel. He's a huge scoundrel. Anyway, you'll see he's wind affinity. So one thing I didn't talk about last time, I talked about the tactician having a particular affinity. I chose March, which gave my tactician the wind affinity. So what that means is all characters that have the wind affinity get slight boosts to their stats, and that's kind of hidden. Never really says anything. So we're gonna start attacking Insane. So he's gung-ho. Charge in! So he's gonna charge in right now. He's gonna attack. Now you'll look at the stats. They don't really favor him that well, and that's what the game will teach you during this chapter. Take an axe to the horse, I guess. Yes, clearly knights should just use lances. In hard mode, I think... so Kent is going to give Sane an extra sword, but in hard mode, I believe he does not. So you're stuck with Sane with just a lance. Yeah, so Kent's... he's pretty serious, but he's a great guy. He's a good unit. So the difference between the units, so I talked about how there's always a red armored knight and a green armored knight, and how one of them is always more powerful and has more luck, and the other one has more skill and speed. So Kent, the one I'm about to control right now, he's the one who has higher skill and speed, and Sane has higher strength and luck. Yeah, so here they'll talk about the weapon triangle. So swords beat axes, axes beat lances, lances beat swords. Yeah. So there is a magical weapon triangle as well, and we'll get to that in one of the future chapters. So we'll do that right now. We'll show off how it works. So we use the sword, and you'll notice that you'll see the green arrow under Kent's sword, and you'll see a red down arrow under the brigand's axe, and so that indicates that the sword is effective against the axe. Your weapon triangle favors you in this match, so let's go ahead and attack. Alright. Now it's Lynn's turn. So we'll just kill this guy off. Lucky Lynn is fast enough to strike twice. He wants another try. Alright, well. So now you'll see with a sword, he's got a much better chance of hitting. And the enemy has a much higher chance of missing, but as you're going to find out... he still misses. This game is playing him for a fool. So using the weapon triangle does not mean you're guaranteed to hit. One thing that they don't say is that the accuracy goes up if you have a weapon triangle advantage, but also you gain 1 point of damage if the weapon triangle is in your favor. If it's not in your favor, you lose 1 damage. And so the enemy will gain or lose also. So it's a difference of 2, it's an offset of 2 damage if either you are weak against the enemy's weapon or you are stronger against the enemy's weapon. So the game has demonstrated that the break-in went into forest, and the forest gives you some evasion. So that explains why Sane missed. Although typically speaking, 87% chance to hit, pretty good chance of hitting. So this is that's much more of an outlier in terms of that would rarely happen. But they had to demonstrate that being in terrain is important. So Sane's the butt monkey for this chapter. Good to know. Yeah, I just explained all this. So now it's Kent's turn again. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so we'll send Lynn off on her little mission here. So this is something I like to call forest hopping, where you simply move from forest to forest because it offers the best... It's an optimal strategy in that it offers the best evasion. So this chapter has been scripted up until now. And it's as soon as this next sequence plays, the chapter stops becoming scripted. So I'll say when it is. So now they're going to teach item trading. He just stood there. Actually, he didn't even take any damage. It was his horse. The guy leaped and swung his axe, chopped off the horse's head. But apparently Sane gets wounded, so... game logic. What a desperate man. So, we'll trade. Yeah, so we'll do that. That's also why Lynn started with 2 vulneraries. So now everyone will be able to have 1 vulnerary. So you notice that there are certain actions you can do before your turn is up. And certain units like Cavaliers will get additional movement. Mounted units get additional movement after their turn is technically over. So we're going to trade with Lynn. Alright, so move over here. So Lynn is much less likely to get wounded because she's faster and she needs extra protection. Sane is more likely to take more damage. So this vulnerary has 3 charges in it. This one only has 2. So I'm going to give Sane the vulnerary that has 3 charges. And that's that. use that vulnerary. That's a little bit of a waste of a vulnerary because I healed less than 10 health, but sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes you need to be able to bear the brunt of a huge number of attacks or large damage, and so in that case it's better to heal off. So now it's explaining how you can move again, sort of. It's just movement. Cavaliers have 7 base movement. Lyn and most other units have 5. But Cavaliers have more trouble. They have even more reduced movement after they go through forests and other tougher spots. So we'll go ahead and move Sane. Actually, we'll just go ahead and leave Sane right here. So now, after this tutorial window disappears, the battles stop becoming scripted. I'll just skip through this. I'm not going to bother with this. So they leave you to your own... They leave you on your own here, so we'll just let Kent get the finishing blow here. Excellent. Now we'll leave Lyn in the forest. So we'll just let the turn end. So the brigand wants to attack Sane. Not the smartest idea, but that's okay. So Sane's a bit behind on experience, so we'll let him get the kill. We'll move Lyn on towards the next one. So actually, we'll let Kent take a few blows too, if that's possible. So we'll move Kent in range here. So notice you can press A on enemy units as well, and that'll display their range. And that's particularly useful when you're trying to check to make sure if units are going to be safe or not. Typically, units are, as the game progresses, there are more and more dangers that you must become aware of, and you'll see me checking and double checking and sometimes triple checking to make sure that units are in an appropriate location so they don't die. I'm very, very careful about this, especially because I don't want to have to re-record. So Kent getting a few whacks. So this is what I like to call maxing out possible experience. So you'll notice here that Lyn could defeat this brigand right now. She can strike 8 damage twice to do 16. But I don't want to do that. I want Kent to attack again. Because he won't kill this enemy. You'll notice that you get experience from simply battling. It starts with a base of 10, I believe, and it gets higher if you are... So Kent is level 1 Cavalier. This is Kent. He's definitely virtuous to a fault. And he's level 1, and the enemy is level 2. So if you are relatively about the same level as the enemy you're fighting, you'll get about 10 experience, 10 battle experience. And of course it will grow or shrink depending on how low or high level you are relative to the enemy. So Lyn got a kill. So now we have 1 obstacle remaining. And we're going to let Sane do a lot of the damage here. So we can just throw Sane straight up here. He can take... Yeah, he'll be fine. So we'll let Sane hopefully get the kill here. Yeah, bad luck Sane. Always getting hit. I don't even need to bother with this. So I'll show an enemy. So this is a Brigands. Brigands are able to climb into mountains. Hardly any other units are able to do that. So most of the enemies that are not bosses won't have a profile. So like this boss, Zugu, he's got a profile, sure. But it's not a big deal or anything in this case. It's just some axe guy who's gonna get killed. So we'll just go ahead and let him do as he pleases. He's gonna get wiped out. Alright. Level... Kent level... He's 80. Alright, yeah, that's good. So we'll just go ahead and let Sane get the finishing blow. Silly brigand, you should know that if there's a single girl in an RPG game, there's gonna be tons of other guys around them. Wow, that was a really good level up. That was an amazing level up for Sane. I'm really happy with that, so that's good. Yeah, so this story is a little bit unnerving. So I'll try to breeze through it quickly. In terms of geography, everything will become apparent as they continue down the trail. So Lady Madeline is someone who's generally noble, is of general noble status. So they had a daughter. And then, well, guess what? So the Marquis does have a granddaughter. See, it's 18 years, but in the Japanese version, Lynn is 15. Well, there you go. Now it all makes sense. So Lady Madeline eloped because the Marquis of Kalen did not approve of her relationship. And so that's why they came out to the plains. This is going by a little slowly. I'll make sure to speed things up. I'll turn off the animations. I just want to show off the animations for new units that come in, and then I won't. And when they class change, I'll show them too. But I'll try to keep the animations to a minimum. Yeah, so that bandit. That really sucks. Like, Lynn doesn't even care. Yeah, she doesn't even care about that. And yet, that's a problem. It's a political affair. Maybe this is a thinly veiled attempt at poking fun. Or not poking fun, but spoofing real-life politics. I think it's kind of funny, but anyway. So Lynn's life is about to change. And just like that, we finished Chapter 1. So now we're going to go on to Chapter 2 next time. So tune in for another segment. We're going to meet the mighty Glass!